Thank you very much. And as you can tell, Mr. Rogers is my idol. Therefore, every day is a beautiful day in my neighborhood. Sorry, Tanya. I just thought I'd put that in there. But delighted to be able to talk to you this evening to talk about impact investing and a new perspective on driving social change. And what I want to talk about is a bit of a paradigm or a couple of paradigms, the trend that is impact investing, my journey, and then my idea which relates to impact investing. So first off, what is the current and emerging paradigm for making money and doing good? Well, one part of it is represented by this gentleman. What is the paradigm that he represents and the statement that is often made about him? Shout it out. Excellent. And who is this guy? Gordon Gekko. Great, that's perfect. He's obviously smoking Camels and talking to someone about buying low and selling high. But that is that money can only achieve a single bottom line, which is profit. What's the second paradigm? Represented by Barack and Bono, obviously arguing which one has more magazine covers. What do you think the paradigm that they represent is? Again, you can just shout it out. We're making it interactive here. Change, that's good. That Obama definitely represents change. Hope. We should run through his books. I'm sure Dreams of My Father, that is also something he represents. But perhaps more appropriately for Bono and Barack, that is that only charity and government can do good. The only actors in our society that are responsible for good things are charities, nonprofit organizations, and government. When, in fact, there's an emerging and necessary paradigm, and that is that enterprise, philanthropy, government, and even investing are necessary actors in order to drive social, economic, and environmental change. Those most pressing problems we face, poverty, homelessness, climate change. Now, how many people in here know what impact investing is? Oh, great. That's fantastic. So my definition of it will be easy for you to understand. So impact investing is an investment approach aims to solve social and environmental challenges while generating some form of financial return. Could be principal back, could be market rate, beyond market rate, below market. The idea here is how do we get money, how do we get investments that balance people, planet, and profit? And there are lots of examples in Canada of impact investments or social finance. And Tanya's organization, CSI, is one of those leading actors in Canada that's driven the social finance movement. There's Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, Ontario, the Regent Park Revitalization right here in Toronto, or Canoe Creek Hydro in Vancouver. Just giving an example of the Regent Park Revitalization, it was a community about 10 or 12 years ago that faced tremendous social and economic exclusion. There was no bank, no grocery store. The housing was inadequate and often uncomfortable for people. They needed $1 billion in order to revitalize that neighborhood. They got $60 million in grants from government. They were able to pull together $400 million from a variety of commercial interests, but that left them a very large gap of money. So what they did is they actually issued a bond, $450 million, on the capital markets, had a variety of financial institutions support them on the deal, and were able to raise the necessary money, issue interest in terms of payments to those investors, 5% per year over 40 years, and help to build 6,000 units of housing, bring a financial institution back, bring a grocery store back, something as simple as a coffee shop for somewhere people to have a safe conversation. And places like CSI Regent Park, as well as the Center for Learning. So impact investing, if you remember one thing from my conversation, that is this, it represents two things. It's impact, building housing units, reducing carbon, providing jobs to marginalized populations, alongside some form of return. It could be 8% prime plus 1% over 3 years. And there is a lot of money that is moving in this direction. Many people are trying to figure out, from organizations, foundations, individuals, how they can place money that has an impact. In Canada, it's about $4 billion invested, going to grow to $30 billion over the next decade. Globally, it's going to grow to $400 billion to $1 trillion in money that has a triple bottom line as its focus. So what's driving this trend? Why are people interested in social finance or impact investing? Well, there's at least 4 reasons. One, the first one you obviously know. We're faced with tremendously pressing problems at a local, national, and global level. When we think about poverty, we know that 400,000 people turn to food banks in this province. The city I'm from, Hamilton, Ontario, 25% of its children live below the poverty line. When we think about climate change, the cost of climate change by the end of this decade is going to be between $1 and $4 trillion. When we think about the gentleman in the middle, Jimmy, JF, however you want to describe him, perhaps as the Minister of Finance, might be more appropriate. He is right now focused, as many governments are, on an austerity agenda. The governments right now globally have $44 trillion in debt. Canada, collectively, it's about $1 trillion. And so money is also being eaten up by a variety of different social services and healthcare costs. So there's less money for us to be able to, from public sources, to drive social change. On the other side of the equation, we also have, as represented by SEMA in the corner, these growing group of entrepreneurs that are building business models to tackle problems and turning to investors for support. And SEMA's business, Tiffin Day, provides affordable lunches delivered in reusable containers using sustainable products, actually made by women from Thorncliffe Park and delivered by electronic bikes. It's probably the purest food you will eat. You actually feel good about it. And if you buy food from her, let her know that I told you about it, because I get a commission on every deal. And the other thing as well, the part of the equation is the number of governments, media outlets, financial institutions, and others that are pushing this agenda and are very interested in moving money towards good purpose. So my journey, how did I end up here at probably 8:28 p.m. Thursday, March 28th, in front of you? I bet you're wondering that very question. I certainly am. So I started off in Hamilton, Ontario. My father's in the steel business. Hamilton's a fantastic city, so I advertise for them everywhere I go. Also required, my sister works for economic development. She doesn't pay me to say that. I would get in a lot of trouble if I don't. But I went to McMaster University, did a BA in geography. And my focus was always on social, economic, and environmental justice. How do we get public policy, community organizations, and business to drive positive social change? So I worked on access to education and training, working on the skilled trades, getting youth involved in trades and training occupations, worked as executive director of the Ontario Undergraduate Student Alliance. We helped drive the post-secondary review and helped to create low-income grants for Ontario students for the first time. Then went on and was executive director of the Ontario Association of Food Banks for 5 years, focusing on access to food and reducing poverty. We did the first study on the economic cost of poverty in Canada, and grew the organization. We were one person at the beginning and moved to 14, and grew revenues from $500,000 to $9 million over that time frame. And we really also got interested in access to fresh, healthy food, because as you know, that it is more challenging for folks that don't have much to be able to get those kinds of products. So we work with farmers, producers, and processors to help glean, gather, and grow hundreds of thousands of pounds of food in order to increase the nutritious quality of those people that we served. Then went on to move money and business to good. So went to the Little Blue Planet that is Mars, helped to work on the creation of the School for Social Entrepreneurs based at CSI Regent Park, and developed the Center for Impact Investing at Mars. And alongside that, and even during the time I was working at the Ontario Association of Food Banks, worked on this SVX project, or Social Venture Exchange. But again, all these things wrap into good public policy organizations and businesses as being agents for change, as necessary institutions. So what's the SVX? This is the kind of final thought, my idea around impact investing. So there's a problem. There are a growing number of social entrepreneurs and investors looking to be able to place money for impact, but access to capital is a big problem. So entrepreneurs find it challenging to get money. It also can cost a lot, tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars, in order to raise money as an entrepreneur. And we think about those investors, it's very difficult for them to find opportunities and actually do the research in order to make the right kinds of investment decisions. And there's no marketplace. It's very uncoordinated. So think about it like a broken piggy bank that everyone's trying to get into but can't. So I've seen the movie Trading Places. I'm not sure if you have. Anybody? Great, thank you. I didn't know if I dated myself by talking about this movie, but it's about stock markets. It's about orange juice futures. I recommend it. So I thought, I thought it would be possible. Why don't we create a social stock market? Let's bring all those entities, those people together that are looking for good. How do we create this market for good? Clearly, Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, they did it in a matter of days. And so we created this organization called the SVX, which operates within the Mars Center for Impact Investing. Work with the TMX group, with Tories, the greatest securities lawyers on earth, Government of Ontario, KPMG, created this impact investing platform to connect ventures, funds, and investors to catalyze debt and equity investments that have a positive impact. And so think about it like eHarmony meets impact investing. So we connect people looking for money and those that need money for long-term, mutually beneficial relationships where they're actually screened and understand what the requirements are. So it might be a company like Tiffany that's looking for financing that needs to connect with someone like the Canadian Alternative Investment Cooperative that has financing. And so we're on that process, we're on that journey, and it is, there are highs, lows, woes to that journey, but in general, most of it is absolutely awesome. So we're in the process of registering as a dealer with the Ontario Securities Commission. We've been working with them for 890 days, which is great, and I'd be happy to tell you that story about securities commissions and money. We'll save that for the next presentation. So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak today and welcome any questions once we're done. Thank you.